We begin talking today about the Grail. I have been watching recently the last opera of Richard Wagner called, guess what? Isn't that something? It's all about the Grail. It's called Parsifal. And that entire opera is about the Grail. It's about many other things, but that's the central part of it. And when we are talking about this today, I also could be talking about the Tarot, and there is a reason for that. But first of all, before we go that far, I will mention one thing that the idea about the Grail, where it came from, what it means, of course, is one fascinating adventure to start with. Now, I have many books about the Grail, but Manly P. Hall, for example, who deals with ancient texts, and that's his specialty, has a wonderful book about the Grail, and you'll see it right here. And this book is The Order of the Quest, the Holy Grail. Now, what Manly P. Hall does all through this is he has everything about the Grail that he can tell from ancient documents, and it's also illustrated here and there. As you can see, there's an illustration. And he has one particular section in it that has to do with Wagner, and what he is talking about in particular is the Grail Kings, where he talks about Ticherel legend from Wolfman from Eisenbach. We have the source of the material used by Richard Wagner in the development of the Grail cycle of music drama. Of this recurrence, Harold Bailey says, if I were a believer in the theory of reincarnation, the spirit of a troubadour Grail king reappeared, I would say, in a person of Richard Wagner. The philosophy of Wagner was a remarkable blend of Catholic and Protestant, Christian and Buddhist ideas. It was curiously similar to this respect to the philosophy displayed in the paper marks and wood blocks. Wagner appreciated that a highly and most potent mode of playing upon humanity's heartstrings was by the combination of music, poetry, stagecraft. His themes center around the mystery of the Grail and kindred myths. In his Meistersinger, the next experience of the troubadours and the minadors, he gives us Hans Sachs, the historical cobbler poet. Sachs, as we can see, is representative of the unnumbered paper poets, primarily poets and many artisans who combined work with appreciation. Sachs is a typical son of the dawn, one of the few, one of whom Bacon terms, and then they have a funny name, I don't know what it means, full of towardness and hope. And then he goes on about Hans Sachs and so forth, and then more about Wagner in here. But you see, this book gives us the beginning of the importance of the Grail in Wagner, but of course he goes all through many other things in here with his courses and illustrations. I begin that because of what it says about Wagner, and that I've been watching the opera by Wagner called Parsifal, which is all about the Holy Grail. So that's how we begin. But as I say, this could also be about the Tarot, and we will discuss that in a moment so that you know what I mean.